Hi guys, welcome along to today's show. Today we're talking about group fitness sessions, group fitness training, group fitness classes. How you can improve your technique, your coaching skills, your instructing skills for better experiences every day. That coming up straight after this. Hi guys, my name's Grant Goes. Welcome to Fine for People, the platform that helps you connect with the best in health, sports and fitness. Today we're talking with an absolute legend, a guy that's been here for, I say, over 20 years, been in an industry. He's been in the UAE, he's well known. He started up many things within the UAE that's defined the direction of which the fitness industry has been going. He has iCuddle Solutions. He is a master trainer within any right. His name is Nathan Brown. Brother, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We're going to talk about group fitness, and you've been in the industry for freaking a long time. You've established it here in the Middle East. You're not only established it, you've developed it, and you're growing it, and you're still growing it today, which is incredible. I suppose the first thing I want to do is what kind of led you to that pathway, or push you down this pathway of direction you want to go?
Interesting question. I guess my grassroots really started back home in New Zealand in a small hick town called Whakatane.
We're actually neighbours.
Yeah, we are actually neighbours. Actually started way back in 1987 when I first decided to take up the pathway of learning group exercise at the time. In fact, I did my ETM, which is obviously exercise to music, a certification course which was based in Tamaki Makaurau in Auckland, by the legendary tutor herself. Her name was Lynn Bushell. She ran the Bodylines fitness training systems at the time. And I decided to go down a pathway of doing the group exercise thing. Relatively very new, of course.
Yeah.
Young whippersnapper at the time, of
Fresh,
course.
young and hungry, brother.
What was most interesting about that is there wasn't really a lot of males around at the time that were actually caught up in the group exercise environment. So, and that's how I sort of got onto my pathway in doing group exercise.
You've done tons, right? You've done Les Mills filmings, you've done Les Mills presentations, you've done your own, you've created your own programs under Fitness First. You have your own education company, your own programs. There's so much, knowledge and understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. I put credit to all those people before me, my forebears, of course. There's a lot of people that have actually contributed to the success. It hasn't always been myself, of course, and I would like to acknowledge those people, of course. Yeah. If I really look at the grassroots, the foundations of group exercise, initially group exercise was founded in 1968. I'll repeat that again, 1968. I think I was 1 year old. I don't know how old you were then, Grant.
Negative 12.
Recently, there was a published article journal that was done by ACSM, which is, of course, the American College of Sports Medicine. And they released a journal which was based upon the evolution of group fitness in 2014. This was recognizing, this was the start of recognizing, shaping the history of fitness at the time. The origins of group exercise can be traced back to 1968.
1960. Let's define group fitness, and let's go because obviously you've learned so much. What are the things that people can do or should look out for to make sure that when they are starting off in group training, or they are group training now, that they can improve this delivery in their sessions?
Yeah, if you look at some of the top pioneers around in the industry today, even though people before that, what they had was they really had charisma. They believed in the social aspect of what group exercise was really about, and that's really still held as a huge responsibility for you as a group exercise instructor moving forward now. If we look at obviously the first person that came to light in teaching group exercise, he was a medical doctor, and his name was Kenneth H. Cooper. And he introduced the concept of aerobic exercise, which is widely known as the father of the modern fitness movement.
I just learned something.
His idea was actually to encourage people to exercise with an emphasis on disease prevention rather than disease treatment. So if you look at the way that group exercise has completely changed, that still happens today.
Yeah.
But then you've got people that came along like Judith Shepard Missett. And 1 year later, which was in 1969, she came up with obviously Jazzergetics or Jazzercise.
The old tidies. Yeah.
Oh,
that's right.
and so she was
That's right. It's on the phone.
Oh, is it? But she was obviously a pioneer in actually doing, coming to the fore of actually group exercise. So Jazzercise, as you know, Grant.
Who's the new Kiwi icon? The Kiwi icon?
There's a few Kiwi icons there.
Susan someone? Susie Aikens? No, who's that?
Susie Aikens.
Susie Aikens,
No, not too sure. But obviously she was instrumental in actually getting group exercise to where it is now. So,
what are some of the learning points? So look, guys, if you have comments, questions, share your thoughts as well about what you think people, because there's obviously a big difference between teaching a group of people and then teaching individuals. So, I've taught for about 20 years as well, and one of the things I've always learned is that what you need to learn and understand is that just you have your own characteristic as a teacher, but also you're teaching to many different characters as well. So you need to be able to, first of all, understand these different characteristics, and then you need to be able to input into your own teaching methods each of these things. And I'll give you a quick example. So, for example, some people are very visual learners. So by having big demonstrations or big directional visuals is good for them. Some people are audio learners as well. And what they need is a nice, clean, clear voice where you articulate what you're saying. There's another point on top of this as well, is that some people just want to be told directly what to do. All right, so you need to be just blunt. Say, for example, run 1K as fast as you can, for a silly example. Where other people are looking for a bit more social interaction when you're there as well. So they don't want to be bullied, brutal, or boot camp style. They want to be just more of delivered, told in a caring way. So there's different ways and methods and different people you teach to. And if you cater for more people, obviously you can have larger people in your classes as well. So there's a couple of things. What's some of the one or two? Let's start with the first two main things you've learned.
Yeah, if you look at really group exercise today, it's one of the biggest following participated sports in the world now.
Yeah.
So, number one. Number two is that you got so many different variations when it comes to group exercise or group training itself. You've got the plug and play concept, of course, or what we call the packaged concept.
Yep.
And that's a tailored program or design program that caters for people who want to learn pre-choreographed programs. The pre-choreography program or the design of the pre-choreography was basically you have a choreography team, you have music that's set to it, and you have a set routine that's actually been designed.
You don't know one of the first ones, do you, bro? Which is I've got Billy Blanks and Ty Bow in my head at the moment.
Yeah, actually, you know what? If you really think about it, this is really if we fast forward to today. You've got Les Mills, of course. You've got Zumba, of course.
Radical Fitness is another one.
Yeah, you got Silver Sneakers, of course.
Yeah,
so these ones here become very, very popular.
What about Toa?
These are the plug and play concepts. But then they've also got, and if we're specifically talking about group training, you've got the indoor cycling concepts, of course. Johnny G was one of the originals when it came out, which is the spinning concept or indoor cycling class concept. But let's not forget the group exercise or group training itself. If we can go back, it also started through military as well. So military was big on having these group training sessions.
Yeah.
Hence, when you look at boot camps, for example, or these HIT kind of concepts that are coming out, these are the industry markers today now.
Yeah, totally.
So,
what are some of the things of you that stand out? What puts one above another? There's obviously common traits that stand out when a program does well or a coach does well. And what do you see?
Yeah, I've always been told that some of the best group fitness or best led group training classes in the world are because the coach is a great communicator.
Yeah.
So communication obviously is the key essence, one of the key essence of leading group exercise, group training classes. If you can communicate, of course.
Let's dive into that because what makes, in your mind, I mean, bro, you've done it all. So what in your mind makes a good communicator?
Yeah, well, I think if let's look at the UAE in general now, because I've been here for 21 years. We need to master barriers. One of the barriers that we need to master the most is obviously the language barriers. Because we have such a diverse of cultures that live under one umbrella here in the UAE. I mean, we're looking at 135 different nationalities that come to our group training classes or group sessions. So, I think if you are a great coach and you can communicate and you can give them the ability to coach, I think you touched on it earlier on about either giving the verbal coaching or explaining, and then the show, which is what we normally do as well, which is kind of aesthetically showing them what to do, and then get them to physically do the exercise. Those cover those barriers of how to communicate with people that are out there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The some of the barriers you covered as well, like as far as when you are visually instructing someone. What's something? Can you be a little more defined about what it is you focus on when you're visually showing someone?
Yeah, I mean, visual coaching is you can either do it from the stage.
Yeah.
And our product of Tour, we allow coaches to roam from stage, and then they can get off stage and go out and be amongst the people themselves.
Yeah.
Because you can't always assume that people can visually see you from the back.
Yeah, totally.
As an example. We've taken the philosophy as which has been a true test of time, and this is to do with the yoga mantra, or the way that you see coaches from the yoga discipline coach, because this is exactly what they do. If you can get off stage and you can go around and actually put people in the right positions and correct them from a biomechanical safe point of view, then we see that not only as being a visual coach, but also you're being a kinesthetic coach as well.
Yeah, totally.
Normally, what happens from a visual point of view or from a kinesthetic point of view is that those two kind of forms of coaching integrate with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hold that thought because we're going to go to a short break, guys. We're going to come back and we're going to keep giving you just those little gems that will help you define yourself as a coach and help you stand out amongst the tough and what some people believe being a saturated market. That and more coming straight up after this.
We've all been there. Hours searching the internet, asking friend upon friend, making call after call, trying to find the right fitness professional, health specialist, or sports coach. So much time, energy, and even money spent only to find more problems than solutions. Well, now, with the Find Fit People platform, you can find all the available professionals with the skills you need in an instant. We've removed all the barriers by establishing a community of many different skilled health specialists, sports coaches, and fitness professionals that are alerted immediately once you've posted your request. In under 30 seconds, you can attract multiple professionals with the right skills to help you achieve the result you want. It's simple, fast, and free. Find us online at www.findfitpeople.com or download the Find Fit People app from Apple or Google Play stores so you can find fit people today.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fine for People. Today we're talking about group fitness trainees, great fitness instructors. How do you become a better coach and deliver better sessions? Over the next 15 minutes, we're going to bang out as much advice as we can to help you improve your sessions. I've got the legend, the founder of iCuddle Solutions, education provider, also the founder of TOA, the outdoor athlete, which is an outdoor training program itself that's been created by himself. It's Nathan Brown. Brother, let's jump straight into it. Let's go. Tip number one for being a better coach instructor.
Yeah, tip number one is we really focus a lot on what we call BEDA. So the BEDA concept means that before, during, and after. So basically, is that as a coach, you need to be able to actually get to your classes or get there before everyone else gets there.
Yep,
that's
agreed,
a given.
100%.
That's a given straight away.
Why?
One of the biggest reasons why is so that if members or clients do end up being there a little bit more earlier than yourselves, or before the actual class starts, is that you can interact with them straight away.
Bang.
Remember, group exercise is based upon a social environment.
Massive.
And this is one of the key things, is that we are supposed to be these kind of people that can actually associate with people on all walks of life, no matter what culture you come from, no matter what religion you come from, no matter what kind of background you come from. So we are basically the hostess of the mostest. So that's one of the key things, is really getting to a class before anyone else gets there.
Yep.
During the actual class, of course, another key component to being a successful what I call a skilled group training coach. Because during the class itself, as I mentioned before, is being able to get off stage. Is it's quite an art to be able to do that and get off stage and be able to coach someone into a right biomechanical movement, for example. But during the exercise or the movement class itself, is that you as a coach, you are supposed to help people. And one of the key things that we look at is that really, if you look at it as being like a personal training session, but in a group training environment, is that you have to understand that people can't get there by themselves.
Yeah.
So we're trying to help them.
Otherwise, it'd be already there.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be there, exactly. And that's the during session. The after session or the post part of the class, for me, is probably the most important part as a coach of 28 years, actually. That's a long time, isn't it?
It's wisdom, brother. It's wisdom.
Yeah, and I've actually started to bring some old school skills back, which is after I do finish my classes, go straight to the door, open the doors, and before anyone gets out, is shake their hands and say thank you very much for coming to my class.
Absolutely.
I'll welcome them, obviously, back to my next class. But that's a period and a time to actually really capture the new people in your class as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hey, listen, I realise that you're new in my class. I'd like to spend some time with you, whether it's on technique, whether it's giving them accountability advice, for example. But those kind of things would never ever take place unless you got yourself out there. So
massively.
I really thank my members for coming to my classes. I really make sure that it's a conscious effort of mine to get off the stage straight away after I've done my warm up or my cool down, and get there and actually thank everyone for coming to my class, because without them, we wouldn't be in the job today.
Certainly. You hear that old cliche too as well. Guys, I mean, let us know if you agree with this as well, is that you'll hear people talk about you're only as good as your last class, right? And that's so true. But let's go, before I get off track here, the points you've hit on are really, really key, and I think also misunderstood from the point that, people just want to show up and they want to teach their classes. There's a big, and again, let us know if you agree or disagree, that when you if you just deliver your class from A to Z, you go up there, you do an intro, you tell them your name, you tell them the exercises. You are, in my opinion anyway, an instructor. Now, the difference in people when they want to grow their sessions comes exactly where you've just talked about, the before, just the during, and the after, where if you have, like I'd like to explain it, where if you invite people around to your house, and if you say to them, if you don't introduce yourself, if you don't welcome them in, if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't start interaction with them to start with, it's going to be very hard for them to enjoy their time at your house or your party. And if you don't say see you later then. If you don't, thank you for coming. It's exactly the same thing. I mean, group fitness is a social activity, a social sport. If you look at it, and the social act part of it is a massive part of you being successful. At the end of the day, people can, let's say cycling for example, people can ride on a bike anywhere. Absolutely. They can ride outdoors, they can ride spinning, they can ride crank, they can ride Les Mills, they can ride, there's so many different options out there. The difference comes from the people that are there and how they're treated. And if you think about it yourself, how do you want to be treated when you show up to somewhere? It might be a class or it be a house. How do you want to be treated? So the best way to learn is to be a better host by showing up, like you just said.
100%. I mean, as group exercise instructors or group training coaches, that we are not the superstars.
No, which is a problem people have.
Which is for me now, you realize that that's a huge problem in today's society and the way the group classes are actually taught now. So with that in mind is that we shouldn't have any barriers. We shouldn't be wearing a mask about this facade in terms of we are better, we are stronger, we are faster. It's you realize that after teaching group training classes for the amount of time that I've actually been teaching it now. So in fact it should be vice versa.
Yeah, it should be. 100%.
The ability to empower your clients and your members with the right information, with them being accountable to actually achieve the results.
100%.
For them to walk out the door and to think to themselves, you know what, that was a kick-ass class. I really enjoyed that. There's nowhere else I can actually get that.
Yeah.
Except from a person that's inspired me.
100%. There's a little thing on that, guys, for me that Nathan was up. Your training isn't done in the classes. Your training is done outside of classes. Too many people use classes to, I'm doing my own training. They start doing workout. Well, if that's your focus, then you're definitely in the wrong direction, because one of two things. One, if you're doing a bit of training yourself, it means you're not focused on the participants in your class and you're not delivering what they need, the education they require. The other side of it too is that, if you can be inspiring by being an athlete, by being very fit, by being very strong, by being very agile, whatever the class direction is. When you train outside of that and you train to go above and beyond, what it allows you to do is show a lot of charisma, energy, and character, and remain focused during the class. So you can be able to put more focus into the people. So you can be fit. Like if you're one of the instructors that are not fit enough to simply deliver a class where maybe you need to go and do the workout with people, then if you're just trying to get through the class yourself, it means you cannot focus on delivering the information that's required. You should be fit, more than fit, if that makes sense. Fit only for the point of that you need to be able to still talk. You need to be able to deliver the education during the session.
100%. And I think, I touched on it earlier on about, our group training classes or group training sessions should be really based upon, if you're a personal trainer, you give them 110% focus from the time you start to the time you finish. No mobile phones allowed, of course. But your 110% attention is dedicated towards their clients. They've paid you the money. Totally. In fact, they'll pay the club the money, or they'll pay you as a coach or a group training instructor to be there in your presence for 1 hour. Yeah. So, ultimately at the end of the day, people can't get there by themselves if they don't have you to be able to actually get them to that finish line.
Let's go back. You've got a great point about communication. Let's break down some communication. I think communication is also another thing of when you're doing pre or post class, there's communication right there and then. So what are the tips from your side to be better communicator, whether it be an introduction, whether it be a delivery of what's going on, or post?
Yeah, I think sometimes and when the things that we've said so far is that, as I recently mentioned, you've got these plug and play concepts, you've got these packaged concepts. What happens is that you build this roboticness about yourself. So you learn from these, from these videos or from these certain materials. But what also happens is that you don't give the ability to show your true self.
Yeah. And
you tend to lose those skills because you're too busy focused on what other people are actually trying to get you to do. So, and that's a bit of a problem for us. So, which is where communication for us here in the group exercise environment, the group exercise world especially, is that you've got to learn the art of how to communicate with people. whether that's from clarity, from being able to pronounce or speak at a certain level, projection.
That's
of course.
really important, guys. Articulating your words so it's clear, especially when you talk about the market over here with 135 different people. I can vouch for this. I've got a terrible speech when it comes to teaching classes, and I had to go through the la warm-ups before teaching the class so that I was actually heard during the session. Yeah. Sorry.
And not only that, you might not be in an environment where you have people that do speak English. They do have those barriers. I touched on that earlier on. So what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. So you demonstrate to the best of your ability how safe a biomechanical movement should look like. Mm-hmm. And you get people to try and resonate and get people to try and move the same way that you move. Yeah. That's another form of coaching as well. So that's a form of communication that we really need to actually get really, really good at. The last thing that...
What can you do? Sorry, before you go into that, what's the one things you can do to be able to teach better or visually show things better? I've got a couple of things in my mind, but I mean, do you have something?
Yeah, one of the biggest issues is obviously the new people that come to our classes. I mean, you've got the front row mafia, of course, and these people are always religiously turning up to group fitness classes, group classes themselves. The problem is that with that is that, a lot of coaches tend to focus on those two front rows.
Yeah, totally.
And they neglect those back rows, those back individuals, the new beginners, so to speak. So, and this is why I always now do not take it for granted that, everyone should have a good squat pattern, for example.
Totally.
And once you do see that, is that normally it's the back rows that normally don't have those kind of movements. So the solution for me is that when you do have that post part of the class, get to them as fast as they can.
Totally, yeah.
Shake their hands at the end of the class and say, hey, thanks for coming along to my class. I really appreciate it. But I realize that you had some issues on your squats. This is how I can help you.
Yeah, totally.
So grab a bar, get a bar, show them how to actually go through the movement, talk to them through the movement, and guess what? They're going to come back to your class even more.
Totally. There's a big part of that, guys, and when you look at... it took me probably, I'd say, about a year and a half to learn this thing was because when you are teaching, if you are on a stage and there's people in front of you, yes, the ones that are super eager, those socialites that are in the front, they're right there. They're listening to every word you say. They're watching everything you do. And that's great, but those aren't the ones that you need to be so focused on because they'll do whatever you say, whenever you say, and however you say. The people at the back, they're your introverts. They're the ones that are a little shy. Those ones that maybe not so confident. That they maybe there's some. The other ones actually need the most help. So what I learned was that if my focus was about, if I always imagine if I had like 1,000 people in the room and I got this long room, my movements, my visual movements, needed to be so that people down the back could see. Whether it be slow, whether it be big, where I'm pointing at something, for example, here's a very good one. A lot of people go like, turn your knees out, for example, or turn your toes out. They say it, but you should back it up with communication by actually pointing and a big point down towards your feet and hold it for a bit, not just point done, because it needs to be seen by the people down the back because they're the ones that they won't tell you. They're probably the last people to tell you that they don't know or don't understand.
Exactly.
But by doing it slow. Now, again, if you do this and you did it a couple of times, you repeated it throughout the class, there's also a point where you don't keep repeating because at the end of the day, your focus is still the group and the majority needs to count. But what you do is, what's great with what Nathan just said, is that as a coach, what you can do is you can identify people that are struggling to keep up with your instruction or coaching throughout the class. So it's a great opportunity. It creates a great opportunity after the session. If they are new or if they're new, one have only been 2 or 3 sessions, I've recognized you come through a few times. Great to see you, reintroduce yourselves and just say, I just noticed during the session that you're having a little bit of difficulty with your squat. So here's a suggestion. Not to be forceful, but say, here's an offer. So like, for example, being if you try and force someone to something, they're probably going to be like, nah, I don't want to take it on. But if you just give a suggestion, you leave it open to them. They start making the decisions, their choices. As humans, we like to make our own choices. We like to feel like we did it. So by making suggestions, they can take it on, yes or no. Now, next week, they may not get it. They may get it. It's completely it. But what it does is you as a coach, it creates opportunities to do what Nathan's just said before, to be able to communicate and connect with the people in your room, to give them something a little bit beyond the A to Z of the instruction, the choreography within your class as well.
Correct.
So, yeah, there's got some of that one there. Another tip for communication.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things that we focus a lot on in our product is we talk about...
Sorry, let's go on about Toa, the outdoor athlete. It's an outdoor program. Well, it can be taught indoors as well. But it's a functional training. Actually, you can explain a bit more. Functional training program.
So the design of Tour is well, the actual acronym of Tour means the outdoor athlete, which basically means that we can train indoors to be able to move better in day-to-day life outdoors. So that's the idea behind it.
Awesome.
And we use primal movements. Primal movements are movements that you can do in day-to-day life, and basically anyone should be able to do them. So no matter what age you are, sitting, for example, or squatting is an example.
100%. So how do you communicate? Because these movements can be three-dimensional, right? Not just these linear movements or bring you up. Yeah, how do you communicate those when there are different planes of movement within each a single movement itself?
Yeah.
Exercise.
We've got a lot of focus on compound movements and what we do. Our mantra in Tour is movement first, exercise second, psychology always wins. So that's what our mantra is. And I could probably go into a little bit more detail with that later on. But we also understand that the psyche or the psychological aspect behind why people do come to our classes. Now, it's not very often that people talk about that psyche. In fact, if we really link it in and join in those dotted lines, it's more about how do they get themselves out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning to come to class. So people forget about those kind of things as well. What drives people to get up out of bed? What drives them to come to a class? What drives them to vote with their feet to come to your session, your classes?
Massively.
And a lot of it's got to do with your psyche. And this is where we get our mantra from. So we know that at the end of the day that people are coming there for you, but we also know at the end of the day that we should also pay back what they've given to us in terms of energy, in terms of them being there 100% focused all the time, which is why we don't see ourselves as being the superstar on stage. We've done a full turnaround in that kind of sense now. So we try to train our coaches to say that this class is not yours. It's your members.
Awesome. I bet. Just before, there's a big thing between idealistic and realistic. And there's point, again, if you disagree, agree that realistically you should be doing this. And if you do this, so then you will succeed. Idealistically, people are going like, I should do it, but I don't. All right, so they got this ideal in their mind, but they don't apply it, and then they wonder why they struggle to succeed, why they struggle to grow, why they struggle to get more people on board, and until you start to change your focus on what you're doing there or why you're doing it there, you need. How do I say this? Look, change your attitude of delivering the education better, and you'll grow without thought. Simple.
100%. But the other thing that we've really got good at doing is obviously selling the benefits. And when we talk about selling the benefits, because quite often we hear people say, go deeper in a squat, go deeper. But there's no reason, they don't really actually explain the reason why.
Totally, or how even.
So, it's, and what also happens is that you end up becoming a rep counter. So we're trying to get away from people just doing rep counts 1 and
Structure
2
the coach.
and 3. So, we've been quite forceful in recognizing the fact of selling benefits to our people that do come to our tour classes. And the tour classes aren't just in the studio, they're also done in small group training as well. So, we've diversed what we do. And this is a way of selling the benefits and holding your clients accountable to what they can achieve.
Massively.
And if we can empower them, then we know at the end of the day that we're actually we're giving them the knowledge to be able to actually, move better in day-to-day life. So, but we definitely try to get away from just doing rep counting, or we definitely try and get away from actually exposing ourselves by just telling them what to do rather than the whys.
Totally, massively.
So,
guys, if you want to learn out more about that too, iCuddle Solutions runs courses, workshops throughout the year, not just here, but in other parts of the MENA region as well, and I'm going to say soon the world, absolutely online.
Get in there.
Yes, you can go to iCuddlesolutions.com or
iCuddlesolutions.com.
To get involved with more things like that. You find out Nathan's the lost word there. What do you call it? Handle. That's what I'm looking for. What's your handle, brother? Your social handle?
Social handles is at iCarol Solutions.
iCarol Solutions. So check out there. This is just, unfortunately, guys, that we haven't actually gone too deep. There is so much you need to understand and learn when it comes to group training. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convince Nathan to come back on a regular basis to talk about group training and tips, and we could probably break it down and just put it into a series, an episode series, to show you and help you understand how to coach better. Instruction is great, guys, but when you become a coach, you understand how to deliver, you understand why to deliver, when and where to deliver. You can be a superstar without having to be a superstar, if that makes sense on that. So, bro, unfortunately, has come to the end of the show, but thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
When are you going to come back on?
Oh,
put him on the spot.
Ben's got to check my golfing schedule first.
Golfing schedule. Thanks for the insights, man. Awesome. Guys, if you have any comments, share them. If you have any questions, please share them. If anything further you'd like to know about group training, group fitness coaching, let us know, and we will definitely bring Nathan back on to discuss that with you as well. Very exciting times. The application is now live on the Apple Store and Android. We've got new shows starting here on Find Fit People platform, Anatomy Fitness, Pinoy Fitness show as well. Guys, check them out. There's new education, new learnings, new understandings, and communities growing within the Find Fit People community as well. So thank you guys for being a part of this. We will talk to you soon. We'll see you soon, every day, daily here on Find Fit People.
We've all been there, hours searching the internet, asking friend upon friend, making call after call, trying to find the right fitness professional, health specialist, or sports coach. So much time, energy, and even money spent only to find more problems than solutions. Well, now, with the Find Fit People platform, you can find all the available professionals with the skills you need in an instant. We've removed all the barriers by establishing a community of many different skilled health specialists, sports coaches, and fitness professionals that are alerted immediately once you've posted your request. In under 30 seconds, you can attract multiple professionals with the right skills to help you achieve the result you want. It's simple, fast, and free. Find us online at www.findfitpeople.com or download the Find Fit People app from Apple or Google Play stores so you can find fit people today.